Introducing DECs. A DEC is a display energy certificate. Required by public buildings over 250 square metres in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. DECs in Scotland are different and used for a different purpose. They provide an operational rating based on how much energy the building actually uses. What is a public building? For the purposes of needing a display energy certificate, a public building is a building wholly or partly occupied by a public body, and at least part of it is frequently visited by the public, or students in an educational setting, patients in a medical setting. Public bodies. The term used in the legislation is public authority, but in the UK this is very misleading. Public authorities have the following characteristics: they are established for the specific purpose of meeting needs in the general interest, not having an industrial or commercial character, they have legal personality, and they have any of the following characteristics. They are financed, for the most part, by the state, regional or local authorities, or by other bodies governed by public law. They are subject to management supervision by those authorities or bodies, or they have an administrative, managerial or supervisory board, more than half of whose members are appointed by the state, regional or local authorities, or by other bodies governed by public law. As a result, most of the following buildings will need DECs: local authority, council and government offices. Schools, colleges and universities including academies. NHS trusts, healthcare centres and hospitals. Ministry of Defence establishments where visited by the public. Public leisure centres, but not private health clubs. Police stations, prisons and courts. Public libraries, museums and art galleries sponsored by public authorities. Buildings occupied by other organisations receiving more than half their funding from public sources, whether grants or donations. DEC ratings. Unlike energy performance certificates, better known as EPCs, display energy certificates use ratings based on the recorded energy consumption over 12 months. Low ratings, from 0, are good whilst high ratings are poor. Buildings are compared to other buildings of the same type. Ratings are split into bands from A to G. G represents the worst performance. A rating of 100, band D, is average. The certificate. Certificate header. The postal address of the building with its geographical postcode. The rating band from the last assessment. The certificate number known as the RRN. The expiry date of the certificate. The useful floor area of the building. This should be the gross internal area and is always worth checking to ensure the rating is correct. Current rating. The current rating score is shown together with the current assessment band. The graph shows how the building compares to other similar buildings. The average, 100, is shown as a dotted line. Current energy use. The actual energy use per square meter of the building from the last assessment is shown. The energy use of a typical building of the same type during the same period is also shown for comparison. Consumption is split between electricity and other fuels. The percentage of renewable energy used by the building is also shown. This is only the energy that the building itself generates. Previous ratings. Details are provided for the last 3 years if these assessments were carried out. This allows improvement or deterioration to be seen. Carbon dioxide emissions. This shows how much carbon dioxide, CO2, the building emits. The figures shown are tons of CO2. Again, the last 3 years are shown if the assessments were carried out. Assessment details. The assessor's name. The accreditation scheme the assessor is registered with. The assessor's trading details. The issue date of the certificate. The nominated date for the assessment. This will be within 3 months of the period used for the energy data. The certificate must be displayed at the entrance to the building. It must be clearly visible to members of the public visiting the building. It should be at least A3 in size. Potential penalties. Organizations failing to display a valid display energy certificate, DEC, at all times in a prominent place that is clearly visible to the public where one is required can be issued with a penalty charge notice of £500 for each offence. Repeated penalty charge notices can be issued until compliance is achieved. This is in addition to any additional penalty for failing to have a valid recommendation report, formerly advisory report, in place. Validity. All DECs must be issued by a competent person and lodged onto the National Register. This is available on the internet for everyone to review. Most DECs are valid for 1 year and must be renewed annually. DECs for small buildings, less than 1,000 square meters, are valid for 10 years. Other considerations. DECs can be used as part of compliance with other environmental and energy efficiency schemes, e.g. the Energy Savings Opportunities Scheme, ESOS. You can obtain a DEC on a voluntary basis to help manage your organization's energy consumption. All DECs have a separate recommendation report, formerly advisory report, which explains how you can save energy and become more efficient. Thank you for listening. To find out more about energy efficiency and sustainability, please visit our website, eastmidsepc.co.uk. Alternatively, take a look at our social media channels. East Midlands Energy Efficiency. Reducing energy use for a cheaper, greener future.